Oke, selanjutnya kita akan masuk ke presenter berikutnya, yaitu Andrea. Andrea akan membawakan COVID-19 cases in Australia. Oke, silakan Andrea, the time is yours.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Andrea. I am grade 7 junior high school. Welcome and thank you for Dr. Vanessa and Ms. Nor Hikmah for attending this event. Today, I would like to share about COVID-19 pandemic in Australia. COVID-19 pandemic in Australia. Before that, this is the latest coronavirus case in Australia. There is 1 new cases last 24 hours. There is 3 million total tests, 100 active cases, and 817 life lost. First is how Australia is the rapid or COVID test for the citizens. Tests for COVID-19 aim to detect the causative virus, SARS-CoV-2, or an immune response to SARS-CoV-2. The three main types of SARS-CoV-2 tests are nucleic acid detection test to detect SARS-CoV-2 viral, 2 rapid antigen test to detect antigen viral proteins from the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and serology test to detect IgM and or IgG. The tests are free. The citizens can choose whether they want to test or not. Second is how Australia responds to their first cases. Australia's response escalated with stricter exclusion measures. Australia's response to the coronavirus has escalated from suggesting only those in direct contact with the sick should be excluded from school, to warnings in some states that all students returning from China should stay away for a fortnight. And now, Australia has implemented even more extreme measures, excluding travelers from mainland China, a measure then copied by New Zealand. At 21 January, Australia's Chief Medical Officer, Brendan Murphy, explains that biosecurity and border security staff to meet passengers from 3 direct flights a week from Wuhan to Sydney. Passengers are given information and asked to identify themselves if they have symptoms such as fever, with New South Wales health officials to follow up with passengers suspect of having the virus. Third is how Australia educates the citizens. Australian government agencies are working with states and territories to implement measures to manage the risk of COVID-19. Australia issues a website that will help students, parents, and education providers, as well as job seekers and employers find the information they need to make informed decisions about managing risks associated with COVID-19. How? They go to the website of the Australian Government Department of Education. The last one is how Australia continued with the school during a COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister Scott Morrison and Chief Medical Officer Brendan Murphy say schools should remain open despite calls to restrict gatherings of more than 100 people. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said the health advice is that school should remain open. This is also what Singapore has done. Singapore has been one of the most successful countries. In Singapore, the schools are open. In Singapore, they are quite effective in managing and limiting the transmission of the virus in that country. This is the best option. So Scott Morrison was inspired by Singapore, so he did in Australia too. So that's it about COVID-19 pandemic in Australia. And now I would like to share about me and my family during the COVID-19 pandemic. First is how the pandemic affect yourself and your family. In my opinion, COVID-19 makes me and my family pay more attention to cleanliness, especially me. Like for example, if we're from outside, we wash our hands before and after playing with our pets using a hand sanitizer, etc. And COVID-19 also makes me and my family closer and have more quality time together because we have to be at home. Especially my parents. Before pandemic, they always work in office, and now they working at home. Second is how you and your families deal with this pandemic. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the way my family and I deal with the COVID-19 is to stay at home. We leave when there are important or emergency circumstances, such as lack of food, etc. If we're forced to leave the house, we always wear masks and always carry hand sanitizers. Third is, were there any difficulties in your family during the pandemic? Actually, there is no big difficulties in my family during the pandemic, but we cannot meet face to face our big family. Like when 8, we can't go to my grandpa's house because of the pandemic. So at 8, we went using a Zoom. And another little difficulties is we can go outside. So me and my family like to go to new places or road trip at holidays, and we often to celebrate something and outside like birthdays, etc. But now we do it at home, so it feels different and we have to be adaptive. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for your attention, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Okay, next, we will listen from Audrey. She will present the COVID-19 case from UK, United Kingdom.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Audrey Felicia. You can call me Audrey. I'm from JS8. Okay, first the impact of the pandemic on myself and my family. First, myself, from the eye health, because of studying online, my eyes get tired quickly because I often look at laptop and phone. And it's hard to meet friends in person because not all parents agree to meet friends in person. To my family, it is difficult to have a vacation together because not all tourist attractions are open to the public, like the United Kingdom. This is their first response about this pandemic. The virus reached the country in late January 2020, and more than 90% of those who died had underlying disease or were over 60 years of age. And this is the COVID alert levels. And the way they educate their people, they launch a public health information campaign to help to push down the spread of the virus, and they started posting daily updates about COVID. And the British government imposed the stay-at-home orders that state the stay-at-home protect the NHS save lives. And the government ordered to close all nearly school, business, places, facilities, amenities, and places of worship. And how they ease the COVID-19 test for residents, the government has rolled out a coronavirus testing program. They can choose one to test at home or go directly to the hospital. And the way they go to school, the school continues to run classes as usual. If someone had test positive, they should be sent home to self-isolate for 14 days. And the school should then contact the local community health protection team, who will advise on who else should be sent home. Anyone who has had close contact with a person who tests positive will be advised to self-isolate for 14 days from the last date of contact. So the friend who had the last contact with the person who was infected with COVID had to immediately do the test and carry out independent isolation. And that's all from me. Stay healthy and keep wearing masks when traveling. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey,
Yes, miss.
for the presentation. And next, we'll go with David, presenting the Singapore.
Hello everyone, my name is David. I am from grade 7, junior high school. Now I would like to share COVID-19 in Singapore. But before that, I will explain how the pandemic affects myself. First of all, I can do something more freely. For example, reading books, playing games, and others. The second is cannot leave the house. For example, is not free to walk, cannot play to friends' houses, and others. The third is more time with family. Like what our family often want is more conversation with our family together. After the pandemic affect myself, here is how the pandemic affect my family. Same as before, is more time to play and communicate with our family. And the last one is delayed family plan. For example, can travel with family and others. That's all what pandemic affect myself and family. After that, I also had a COVID-19 update in Singapore today. As you can see, the total cases were 57,941 and the recovered was 57,821 and and now I also have a question that I have answered myself. The first is how they respond their first cases. When they know that COVID-19 will fit into their country, they have to protect their country so that when COVID-19 have entered into their country, they will. And the second is how they educate citizens. They teach their country to stay aware of what will happen in the future. The third is how do they facilitate the rapid test of COVID-19 for residents, making vaccine, providing masks, hand sanitizer, and others to their country. And the last one is how they continue the school. They don't allow children to study in school, but they allow children to study online. The last one, after that, I also prepared a total of COVID-19 world. In here, there is a total cases of worldwide COVID-19. 41.6 million people who have been affected by COVID-19 cases. And the recovered of worldwide COVID-19, 28.3 million people who have recovered by COVID-19. And the death of worldwide COVID-19, 14 million people who have died from COVID-19. And as you in here, uh, as you all see here, there have been a lot of people who have been affected by COVID-19, who have gotten sick and have also died because of this COVID-19. And this is the last slide of the presentation. Here is a more detailed explanation of COVID-19. COVID-19 pandemic in Singapore. The COVID-19 pandemic in Singapore is part of the worldwide pandemic of coronavirus disease 2019, caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. The first case in Singapore was confirmed on 23 January. Early cases were primarily imported until local transmission began to develop in February and March. By late March and April, COVID-19 clusters were started at multiple dormitories for foreign workers, which soon contributed to an overwhelming proportion of new cases in the country. Singapore currently has number in Southeast Asia, behind Indonesia and the Philippines. Okay, that's all the COVID-19. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, David, for the presentation. And next, we will go with Albert. We will go back with Albert.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Now I want to present about my COVID-19 presentation. China is the source of the pandemic right now that affects our world. The first country that get impacted by the COVID-19 is China, because the first country that reported that one of their citizens get infected by COVID-19 is in China. China first cases. China first case been handled fairly fast. They directly quarantine people that get infected by the COVID-19 virus and they directly trace all people that have been in contact with the patient until 1 week before it. How they educate their citizens. They put out posters all over the country to tell them to use masks correctly. Then they broadcast their news on any social media and television and also the radio. So even though the people doesn't go out, but they still can see or hear it from social media, television, and also the radio. And they keep telling the citizen about how dangerous is the COVID-19 virus. So the people afraid that they will get the COVID-19 virus. How does China is their citizen for rapid tests? First, they import and make so many rapid tests for their citizen. Then they giving it one free rapid test to all citizens every month because so they will know if they will get COVID-19 or not. How they still continue with school? When the first case appeared, they don't continue school by going to school like usual, but they do it online. When COVID-19 patient counts already decreasing, they started school again as usual, but with an extremely tight health protocol. Now we're talking about how COVID-19 pandemic affect my family. COVID-19 not really affecting my family routine, except we just can go holiday and we need to stay at home. We also study and learn at home. Our family deal with the pandemic. Our family just deal with the pandemic by just staying at home, work from home, and just play at home. Thank you everybody for listening my presentation.
Wow, thank you, Albert. Before we go to our last presenter, I would like to remind all of us to stay until the end of the program because we will have a lucky winner, 5 lucky winners for the students. Jadi ada lucky draw, and they will get free online English class for 3 sessions. Jadi semua stay by karena nanti akan ada undian. Okay, now for the last presenter, I would like to give the time to Putra to present the Netherlands.
Hello everyone, my name is Putra and today I will show my presentation about how Netherlands face the COVID-19. Before we go to the topic, I will tell you about how the pandemic affected me and to my family also. First, how the pandemic affected me, I feel kind of lonely. I just stay at home and cannot meet with my friend. So I was doing something when I was at home to make me happy. And the second, all my plans are postponed. For example, this year we have a plan to go outside to meet with our cousin, and we cannot go there because lockdown. But the good thing is the third, that I got new hobby while this pandemic. Like right now, I just make a lyric for music and I learn guitar. I do editing video and a lot of things that lot of new things that I do while this pandemic. So this is how the pandemic affected my family. First, having time together and getting to know each other more. Because before, our parents always go out to work and then to do something else. We not even talk a lot before, but now, because this pandemic, we all stay at home. My mom and my father work at home, so we can speak each other a lot, and we're getting more each other a lot. So we go to the topic how Netherlands facing the pandemic. Now we're gonna talk about the strategy, like how they respond for the first cases, how they educate the citizen, how about the rapid test, and the student program. The first, how they respond their first cases. According to the public health in Netherlands, Jeff Van Diesel and the Cabinet Rattle 3 have decisions to lock down if the COVID infect to 3 people. So the story is like there is a guy who just came back from Italia, and then after 14 days, because he just came back from Italy to the Netherlands, after 14 days he got the COVID, and then that affect to his friends who just also came back from Italy. And after that, already 3 people they locked down. This is the second, how they educate the citizen. According to the government, they take the opinion from the Cabinet Rattle 3 that say to lock down. How is it? They call it intelligent lockdown. What is intelligent lockdown? Intelligent lockdown is divided by three. First is for the worker, second is for students, and the third is for the activity. So the first, for the worker, they can go to the work only 2 days in the week, and the other day they can work at home virtually. And for the students, they still can go to school as usual, but they need to follow the rules. The third, for activity, they still can go to the mall or mini market, but they can they cannot eat right now, and they need to use uh, the medical mask or rather mask that Prato Cabinet is made. The third, how they ace the rapid test. So they just start use app development, because when they're using the app development, it's more easier and affect a lot of people. It's happened because if they go to the hospital, a lot of people scared right there. They just scared for the people if their site sitting down in the site like have a COVID. From this guy that got that negative of COVID, he got positive because a lot of people right there that got COVID. That's why they better stay at home, use the app development, and check if already 14 days they got coronavirus, they need to go to the hospital. If not, they're okay. And this is the last, how they continue with the school. So, like the before, the intelligent lockdown say that they still can go to school, but they have to follow the rules of RIVM. Uh, what is the RIVM rules? RIVM rules is no cold symptom like nasal cold, runny nose, sneezing, and then no coughing, no shortness of breath, not have elevated temperature or a fever. So if they have if they above of 38 degrees Celsius, it's out of the rule, so they cannot. And then the last is no lose sudden of taste. That for me, sorry if there is a wrong word. My name is Putra. That is my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Putra. And thank you, everyone, the student, to present all your presentations.